This is the Australian Supreme Sheepdog Championship at Geelong Showgrounds in Victoria, Australia. And the competitor coming out onto the arena at the moment is Sean O'Leary with Elliott's Mumu. So Sean's made his way out onto the arena. We're just waiting for the judges to get ready, which have given Sean the signal to walk up to the casting peg. And this is Sean and Mumu's run in the open event at the Supreme Championships. And it's quite a windy day today, so we'll see how the sheep react to that wind and how Sean and Mumu handle that. They're ready to go, and Sean sent Mumu out on the far side of the arena. It's a small dog but quite fast, and she looks like she's coming up nicely around that outside. She's just coming narrow towards the top there, and she's just bumped the sheep a little bit offline. So Sean sat her down and just looking to settle things down and try and bring those sheep down the middle of the arena. The ideal cast, lift and draw is to have the sheep come down in a straight line from where the dog picks them up and not have them veer off that line. So it looks like the sheep have got a bit of pace on them today. It may be the windy conditions. It may be the pace of Mumu, the little dog, as she comes in tight on them there and just pushing them down. But a fairly straight line so far. And it looks like they're bringing them down to the casting peg. And they're just outside the casting area, so Sean will look to settle things down here with Mumu. And just wind them around on that left-hand side. We have seen earlier in the day that the sheep, once they wind around, they do tend to run back up the field. They see that as an escape route and try and get back up to the let-out area. And it looks like they've got a bit of pace on them. Mumu's come around and cut them off there. They're a little bit offline, so they're still outside the winding area. So Sean will want to bring them back in line so he can sit them in the laneway that heads up to the gap. He's now got Mumu a little bit further out. He's got distance on her. And it looks like they're walking together, but the sheep have making a little run for it. And Mumu's got a lot of pace on her, so she's easily getting up and blocking them on that far side. But it looks like they're a little bit out of the corridor, so Sean will get Mumu to bring them back in. Try and steady them down to a walk and keep them within that 9 metre distance of him. And it looks like to be a little bit tricky here. It looks like they've just wandered outside the corridor again, so he's just trying to position Mumu there in a way that allows the sheep to walk but keeps them contained within that corridor, and they're just wanting to escape out to that far side. So he's got Mumu there. Mumu's covered them. Doesn't want to leave them behind too far. You want to get Mumu to just nudge them up and bring them up closer to him. The judges will be deducting points for the sheep being too far away from the handler there. And see that little bump, and they run. So it's going to be a challenge here for Sean and Mumu to keep these sheep contained, but Mumu's got them covered. Not sure if they went past the gap there, but it looks like she's got them blocked in, and she'll be looking to bring them back into the middle of that gap and then bump them through. So they've just gone past, so she's going to have to come around and catch them on the other side and block that side. And look at the pace on her. She's got no problems with going from side to side to block them. And they've now found the way through. And she's just getting around there to cover them so that they don't get outside that corridor across to the race. And Sean's happy with that, so he's just walking off with the sheep there and just positioning Mumu on that far side between the sheep and the let out area. So the sheep looks like they're settling down a little bit. They're still looking. They've got their eye on Mumu. Sean's just settling Mumu down, just keeping her at a distance. Doesn't want to bring her in too tight, too fast, and bump the sheep too fast, because they'll tend to run. Just trying to keep it nice and calm. Mumu's there covering that far side, just allowing them to walk. Just positioning herself there to cover them and just bring them up. Just in little steps, trying to keep them within that 9 metre area of Sean and within the corridor. So Sean will be careful here not to push too hard on the sheep, because they are out that far side and they'll have a tendency to run around that race. So he's just sent Mumu out to block that far side and just ensure the sheep don't sneak around that far side of the race, that far side panel. It looks like they've they've popped their head back in. So it's quite good work. Mumu just creeped up there and just gave them a little bump, and now she's covered the back of them and pushing them through. And she's got that pace to come around and just cut them off and just realign them. Again, just trying to realign them now from between the race and down to the bridge. So it looks like it's settled down here. It's a much more settled run than first started for Sean and Mumu. And it looks like they've got things pretty much under control. It is a really windy day here at Geelong, so it will be a challenge to keep it settled. And if there's too much pressure on these sheep, they will have a tendency to run, which they've just done there. They've just pushed out to this near side. They're just looking for that escape route back to the let-out area. So it looks like Sean's aware of that and just trying to get Mumu to cover them and keep pushing them along. Sean's just got a nice steady pace there, not wanting to get too far ahead of the sheep, just bring them up. And at this stage he'll want to get Mumu just to bring them up slowly, again not push them too hard, otherwise they'll push past that bridge and they'll look to escape around the far side. So it looks like he's got Mumu positioned there. He'd probably want to bring her in a little bit tighter there just to cover them like he's doing. Mumu knows that, but she's got to cover that far side, or she's just letting them through. She's just letting them escape there. That's where they wanted to go. There was just that little bit too much pressure and just push them. And now so Mumu's come around and just cut them off. And she'll want to now nudge them back there. You can see the judge there, Ken Robinson. You can see his coat blowing around there, showing how much wind there is today. So it is a bit blustery. Again, the sheep have just gone around that far side. So there'll be some points deducted for the sheep going past the obstacle. Mumu's got them covered, but there is a chance that they'll turn back and run back up as they just did. And that means bring them back down. So it looks like Sean's just sat Mumu down there. She's such a little dog, but she's got that pace on her, and she's certainly got a lot of guts in there, getting right into the face of the sheep. So she's going to try and cover them now, cover that far side, which she's done, not let them get past that obstacle again, and come back and cover this side. So they want to keep trying to keep that cover and just entice the sheep to turn into the mouth of the bridge. And then Mumu can come up and put pressure on them to move across the bridge. And it looks like they've got them in the mouth, and it looks like they're heading up the bridge, so they're just holding it there. Just repositioning Mumu so she can put some pressure on them if needed. Just letting them settle. Looks like they're walking through. And yes, they have. They've come outside. So just settling there, seeing where the sheep are going. And Sean's just bringing them around to cover this side, which is good. She's just gone on the bottom side there, so that might give the sheep a chance to run up behind Sean as he walks through. We'll just have to wait and see what happens here. Any pressure from there from Mumu and they're going to push out. She's come in and she's come in tight there. She's caught them. That's good work. So just bring them back there and just try and walk them along. Yeah, she's still in tight. And now she's gone out wide. I think Sean called her out wide there, which might be a mistake because they've let that escape out there. And Mumu has to come up here and make a lot of... Look at her go. Oh, she's given the sheep a bump there. Hip and shoulder on the front sheep there. Just to show that she's still the boss, but she had to make up a lot of ground there. That might have been Sean just sending Mumu the wrong way there. We don't know. We'll have to look at that later on. But Mumu's got the pace on to bring them back in. And now Sean wanted her to bring them in calmly to the pen. Would have cost a few points there. They covered a lot of ground, those sheep, offline. But you can see Mumu's pace there and her courage then to just go up and hip and shoulder that front sheep to pull it up. So Sean's in the set position at the pen here. They're still not in a good position to go in the pen, and they're still at escape route, which they've done. They've wrapped themselves around. That's at least a 3-point deduction there for Sean's run, so he'd be disappointed with that. He'll be working here with Mumu just to settle them back down. He knows now that the sheep have got that escape route around that far side, so he won't want to put too much pressure on to push them there. You want to get Mumu around quickly and cover them like that. That's nice. She'll just have to come back here, turn the sheep's head in. And she's got a nice little way of working there where she comes around and that pace of hers, just bump them into there, just turn them in. Now coming back and blocking them off. So it looks like she's got them covered and settled. Yes, Sean's going in to shut that gate. And he'll be very happy with that. Well done.